Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. In the previous video, I talked about the theory of the psychology of color, the feng shui color theory, and the art color theory. In this video, I will be talking about two more schools of thought on color theory that are somewhat related to all the other color theories that were mentioned previously. The first, my favorite topic, your choice color theory. Well, it is not really a theory per se, but it is another school of thought for color theory. When I was doing my training for art therapy, I was taught that colors holds its own personal meaning. This brings us to the topic of colors as metaphors. Metaphors was a favorite research topic of mine when I was doing my second specialized degree in psychology. Most of us understand what a metaphor is in literature, but it was eye-opening for me to understand that metaphors do not just exist in art and literature. It is everywhere around us.
And here is the bizarre thing. People enjoy their food more with heavy cutlery. And people who used heavy cutlery were willing to pay 15% more for their food.
Metaphors are also deeply ingrained within cultures. But when we bring in the topic of cultures, we also have to understand what subcultures are. For example, under the umbrella of Chinese culture in general, we all get the idea that it has a certain architectural style, has a predominant preference to red during festive seasons, has a certain iconic fashion, and generally shun the colors black and white traditionally as they are associated with death and therefore unlucky. However, with the influence of Western culture, the younger generation has shifted away from that culture and already has a different sense of Chinese culture. As I have already talked about here, we can already see two groups emerging. Now consider this. If we think of China as the Chinese superculture, China is also made up of many provinces, towns, and different tribes. Each of those subgroups will have their own flavor of the Chinese culture and hence will have their own set of metaphors, granted that they may not all be mutually exclusive. As such, each individual will have his or her own set of metaphors, according to how they have experienced life and draw meaning from it. And thus we have colors as a form of metaphor. Why is your choice color theory my favorite theory? Because it is yours and mine color theory. It represents your personal power, and that is something only you have. Others may share some similarities, but theirs will never be exactly the same as yours. This becomes the gateway to your internal world for anyone who knows how to use it to help you plumb the depths of your shadow or that which lies hidden within you. These gates can remain closed if you wish, and you will only be able to observe what goes on from this side of the gates. As we all know from our real-world experiences, that there is only so much you can see from this side of the gates. You can access those gates through journaling by trying to answer the following questions. 1. Why did you choose that color? 2. What does it remind you of? 3. How does it sound, smell, taste, and feel like? 4. Does that color bring to your mind any particular event or situation? If so, what is it, and why do you think it is of significance to you in this instance? 5. What do you think is the story your artwork is trying to tell you? Now, I'm assuming that you used more than one color for your artwork. If you work through these questions for each of the colors, you may start seeing a deeper meaning emerging from your artwork. Alternatively, you may also choose to not do anything about it and just enjoy your time marveling at your masterpiece. Remember, the choice is yours to make. And if in trying out this journal exercise brings you any form of discomfort, please seek help from your nearest mental health professional. And finally, we come to the last school of color theory. We already know that colors can affect our own moods and emotions. Somewhere out there, someone has already created a color palette that may just sing to you. So use it to make your own art. 2 examples of these are the masculine color palettes and the feminine color palette. The former is a group of colors that are bolder and darker and sometimes more contrasty. While the latter is a group of colors that contains more pinks, and the colors can sometimes be softer, like the pastel colors. Additionally, there is a huge amount of artwork out there that other artists have already created, which you may also draw inspiration from. Now all you need to do is find a color combination out in the wilds that sing to you, so that you can use it for your own artwork. The way that you can go about doing this is either find an artwork that you like and just copy the artist's color palette, or you can go out and get some books or use the internet to look for sites that list many different combinations of colors. This method not only encompasses what has been talked about before, and it also preserves some of the integrity of your personal color metaphor. I use 2 books in particular which are already out of print: Tasteful Color Combinations and Practical Color Combinations, both of them by Naomi Kuno and Forms Inc. Color Intelligence Institute. The first book I bought many years ago contained a whole list of color combinations that evokes certain emotions, like energetic and dramatic, richness and fulfillment, classic and traditional, etc. It was in this book that I discovered the color palette that sang to my soul, which you can see decorating the main page of this channel and my personal website. The second book appears to be an updated version of the first book, but now has some examples of how the color combinations can look like on designs and patterns. Now these are all the color theories that I will touch on in this two-part video. The decision to use which color combinations is entirely yours to make. Make your choices wisely, and most of all, have fun. In closing, I will leave you these quotes to ponder.